going to talk about, in the respect of ceramic coating sales, the role that discipline has in it. Now, we've talked about a lot of different concepts. We've talked about a lot of different aspects of ceramic coating sales, but the thing that underlies everything you do as a business person is the amount of self-discipline that you show in completing and enacting these actions. You can watch all the videos of mine that you want. You can have it on repeat while you sleep at night. But if you don't actually take consistent action upon the principles that I teach, anyone else teaches either, you're not going to get the results you want. It's always going to be skewed. It's always going to be upside down. It's always going to be something that is inconsistent in your life. Now, one of the things that's the biggest part of discipline is consistency. We talk about working referrals. We've talked about website development. We've talked about social media. Being consistent with these aspects of your marketing and your business is 100 times more important than being perfect. Shocking revelation. I work out of a 20 by 20 garage. 20 by 20. I can't even get a full-size truck in here and close the door. I have to park it outside overnight. But I have all types of business, doing very well for myself with a very low overhead, because when it comes to my business principles, I'm extremely consistent. Now with my detailing, I'm very consistent also. I don't play around a lot when it comes to products and trying this and trying that. I just don't do that whole game, okay? Because I feel like whenever I switch over just on a whim to try something else, some new shiny bottle, I feel like it hurts my consistency. My business principles are the same. For instance, scheduling. Eventually, if I get a bigger shop and I get to be a more volume oriented, I'm going to have to get away from using a planner to schedule all my appointments. I'm just going to have to. There's no way around it. But at this point, it works so well for me. And it's so consistent for me. I have no reason to change it until it comes to the place to where it hurts my consistency. It hurts my quality. It degrades from what I have. It is better to have mastery. Doesn't mean perfection, but mastery of a simplified system than to have competence of a complex system. So I would rather work the simple marketing plan. Like my marketing plan, the marketing aspects that I teach and I share with others are ridiculously simple once you get it all set up. It's just you have to be consistent doing it over and over and over and over and over again. And yes, there's a lot of concepts that go with it, and there's other aspects of personal development and business development, but the core of it is foundational and simplistic and easy to comprehend and easy to work. It just has to be replicated over and over and over again. Part of discipline is having mastery over your systems and processes. Not perfection, mastery. So let's say that you have a system by which you do your Facebook post and you post your ads. You don't have to have the absolute best targeting. You don't have to have the biggest budget. You don't have to have the best photography. You don't have to have the best copy. All those things have to be good and they have to be competent, but it is more important that you have mastery over the system by which you do those things than having perfection in those systems or competence in a more complicated system. Some business people, even detailers, try to greatly overcomplicate what they do. And by overcomplicating what they do, they make things tremendously harder. They confuse themselves. They make working their system much harder and much more difficult than it really should be. And it leads to them having a lot of frustration and aggravation. And then they just get blue in the face with working their business aspect of their business and just forget about it. I'm done with it. I just want to clean cars. Work a very simple system consistently. And if you're going to decide to upgrade to a more complicated system, let's say you're going to get into a whole CRM, customer relationship management software, or something like HubSpot or something like that, that you've got to integrate and you've got to keep up to date on it, or you use QuickBooks or something like that. That's fine. Master it. Take classes. Spend time. Have people train you. Have people mentor you in it. And once you get in that system, don't get out of that system. Don't walk away from it, because if you do, you're always going to be confused. You're always going to feel like you're not in control of your business. Part of self-discipline is having control over the various aspects of your business that you can control. So let's say I'm talking about my customer resource management. Like, you can use an Excel spreadsheet to keep a track of your client list when you contacted them. You can use Google Docs, and that works just fine as well. Whatever you use, don't constantly be changing it, or otherwise you're going to see a decrease in that amount of control. And this is kind of like the same thing with detailing products and shiny object syndrome. Every single time some new shiny bottle is released, we want to jump ship and try out the new thing. Well, a lot of business people do the same exact thing with their business skills, their business resources, and their technology, is that every time something new is released into the waterways, so to speak, they want to jump ship and try the new thing. Now, I'm not knocking new processes, new systems, new development of business aspects. I'm not knocking that at all. In fact, it can be a very good thing. But don't continually keep yourself in a sense of turmoil just because you think that the newer thing is the better thing. That's a great way to get confusion, frustration, and aggravation rather than simplicity in your business. Self-discipline is knowing your strengths and weaknesses and working them in a consistent manner. One of the things you can do also with self-discipline is keep a schedule for your self-development. Like, one of the things that I try to do, not always perfect at it, but I really try to do it, is to spend at least 2 hours a day while I'm working listening to business development or self-development, like audiobooks, while I'm working. And if I'm on a really long job, after a couple hours, I'll switch over to an audiobook or music or something like that that's more entertaining. But I try to at least cram a couple hours a day of self-development or personal development content in, so that I always am growing to some respect. Now, there might be disagreement on this, but I'm one of those people that thinks that you should constantly be learning. constantly be improving, constantly be developing yourself. Because if you're not, you find yourself sliding back real quick. It is a perishable skill. Personal development skills, habits, consistency, self-discipline, it's perishable. And if you don't work on improving it all the time, and if you don't exercise that skill of self-discipline, it's going to come back on you and it's going to start to degrade after a while. And that's when you start falling back into old habits, doing things the same old way, and it gets messy. That's not what we want to do. We want to continue to develop and build ourselves over the frame of time that we have and get the absolute best out of the systems and processes that we have. We want to get the best out of ourselves, the best out of our business, and one of the lion's share of selling ceramic coatings and even scheduling appointments in your business, keeping your book full and making money, is being consistent in what you do. All these detailers out there think they have to have the perfect shop, the perfect work. They have to get every single scratch, every single swirl, every single stain. They have to coat everything. Their work has to be perfect at all times, when that is simply not true. You simply have to be consistent. Now, yes, you want to get better over time. You want to improve over time. You want to see your skills progress over time, but you don't have to be perfect all the time. Take what you do already very well and master it. Master it before you attempt to go on to something else. If you can master a wash, clay, and seal job, O&R wash it, clay it with a clay towel, seal it with something, and you can truly make that thing work for you to where you can do it in your sleep, then you step up to the one-step paint correction. You wash it, you clay it, you do one step of paint correction, and then you put a sealant or you put some sort of basic ceramic coating. Master that baby. And then you get into the multi-stage corrections, the two-stage corrections, the wet sanding, the pro-grade coatings. Start somewhere and master where you're at before you try to push yourself to this extreme high level. Take baby steps, but make sure you are getting yourself accomplished within those baby steps before you continue on with your business and with your progression. All the things we've talked about in this ceramic coating sales guide, and I'm going to add some supplementary content to it as well. It's all going to come down with how disciplined you are in using it. You want to look at all these people out there that are doing all these coatings every week, every day. They're booked out all the time, a month in advance, blah, 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 2 months in advance, 6 months in advance. It's fantastic, but those people did not get there overnight. Whether they market differently than you, whether they're in a different demographic than you, whether they're new or they've been around for 20 years, none of that matters. All that matters is that with something about their business, they're very, very disciplined and consistent with it. And that is what is driving their business into the future and keeping them busy. You cannot replicate their results, meaning you can't get an exact carbon copy of their results, but you can imitate their results by being very consistent and very disciplined and mastering what you do and then building up from there.